Hi, everybody, and welcome into the Bastards post-game show. Rest assured, I've calmed down a little bit after yesterday's game and everything. It didn't scare Brendan away or anything, but we have Terry joining us here tonight to break down a really nice 8-0 win for the Red Sox. You had Cooper Criswell on the hill for the Sox. You had some big hits, but I think the biggest story was Raffy Devers returning to the lineup. Of course, we also had Connor Wong chipping away with 4 hits, 2 of which were the long ball. And Wilyer Abreu, Terry, is just proving all the haters wrong after that pretty mediocre start to the season for him. He is hot as a pistol right now. Want to welcome you in.
Yeah, the day started off kind of on a bad note. Brian Bayo to the injured list with a lat strain. Typically, you'll miss about a month with that, but they expect him back right at the end of the 15 days. So if you're a glass half full person, there you go. But Cooper Criswell, what a performance. I mean, a lot of people might pencil that in as an automatic loss. I actually thought it would be a high scoring game. We just saw Carrasco last week, and I typically when you see the same pitcher twice in a short amount of time, you can make some adjustments and do
You
some
get the book
damage.
on him. Yeah.
Yeah, and Criswell, I mean, he had tons of run support. There wasn't a lot of pressure on him, but this offense exploded tonight, probably in a way that we haven't really seen all year.
I was really surprised to even see that Devers was back. I was thinking we might just see him go to the IL, maybe come back on the weekend against the Cubs and everything. But he came back. I mean, he came back with a vengeance. I mean, he came back and he looked like he didn't miss a beat. Needed that big time.
Yeah, last night I was screaming for him to be put in a pinch hit situation. I mean, he's not on the injured list, so his return was imminent. And I thought, man, you could really kind of steal one by utilizing him last night, even if you immediately pulled him out of the game after pinch hitting. But came in tonight, 3 out of 4. Interesting before the game, apparently Masataka Yoshida not very happy. He's kind
Yeah.
of being brushed aside, and Devers got his DH spot away from him and ends up hitting a home run for one of his 3 hits. And I think this is a sign of things to come. I think Devers, before long, definitely before age 30, will be your everyday DH. And he's, Big Poppy was the first prototype of that. And I
Yeah.
think Devers is of the same mold. So this will be a more familiar position for him in the future.
I even said it earlier when this season began. If your roster was perfect and you had the right person to install at third base, you had something adequate that was there and didn't have to hide Yoshida as a DH type, Devers would be my DH 100%. But you just can't do that with the roster that you're assembled here with. But I'm glad that you brought up that Yoshida little topic that was right there, because that was a story here today. And I don't know what your take is on the matter from it, but I'm not super big on Yoshida, but I do have to say, after that Sunday performance that he did have against the Pittsburgh Pirates, I've been pretty surprised that he hadn't been in the lineup again. So something's brewing with that.
Well, last week when we faced the Guardians, he was 0 for 4 in the opening game of the series and then 0 for 6 the very next night. So perhaps Cora doesn't want him facing the Guardians. Maybe they have the book on him. And there's also a slight possibility Alex Cora could be trying to light a fire under Yoshida, get him a little mad. Maybe that'll fire him up and the hits will start coming, and so will the consistency and the motivation and everything that goes with it.
I was even leading to believe, and I don't like to speculate, I don't like to do anything like this, but Alex Cora, I think, is mad at Yoshida, and I'm wondering if he's mad at the fact that Alex Cora probably doesn't think that he can throw him out in the outfield and feel confident enough with him going out there. I don't know if this has to do with something like that, but maybe lighting a fire under him is something that says, hey, you're not in shape. You're not ready to go out there. You're going to hurt us if you go out to the field. And now you've kind of strangleheld me a little bit with the lineup that I have to face every day.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Cora has tons of obstacles and has for the last few years, and nobody wants to have $18 million a year of dead money on the books. So not sure what you do with it. I mean, you're trending dangerously close to Pablo Sandoval territory with Yoshida.
The other topic, of course, that you mentioned today was the Bayo news about him going on the IL, another player going down. Anything we should think more about with all these injuries popping up with this team? Is there anything that we think about that this team is just not in shape, their strength, their conditioning, anything like that is just a reasoning why maybe this team is getting so hurt is because they're like a broken glass?
I had a very unpopular tweet earlier. I
Okay.
said maybe Andrew Bailey is breaking our pitchers, because if you look at it, and I'm not saying he is, but it's fair enough to at least ask the question. 4 of your projected starters for 2024, 4 of the guys you thought were going to start every 5 days, Lucas Giolito, Nick Pivetta, Garrett Whitlock, Brian Bayo, are all on the injured list for various reasons. Some of them will be back soon. At least one of them won't be until next year. And I just wonder if all these extra sliders and changeups, and these arms aren't used to throwing them at the rate they are now throwing them, could there be something to it? I don't know. But I
I
threw it
know
out
one of
there.
the things, I think it's very valid. I think it has legs, and I think a lot of it has to do with the makeup of your staff that was put together. We've seen some of these guys 2, 3 years in, Garrett Whitlock in particular. We know that he's injury prone. They don't have durability in them. So if a new system is getting in play by Bailey, could very well be throwing these arms off, at least from the pitcher's end. It very well could. We don't know. And, it's a science in a way about what happens with the body and the arm from stuff. But new program, new system that's in play could definitely be one of the reasons why these pitchers are all going down.
Whitlock is injury prone, like you said, but Brian Bayo, for the most part, hasn't had a ton of injuries. Nick Pivetta is never injured,
Very
and
true.
Lucas Giolito hasn't had a major injury. He had Tommy John, I think, in 2014. So it took 10 years for another injury to crop up. So I'm not saying
Brian
it's
Bayo,
Bailey.
was it a 15-day IL last season for, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I don't think it was
Yeah,
major.
he had a forearm strain and missed the first 5 or 6 weeks of the year and was
Yep.
fine after that. So, but and that's the only injury I'm aware of. So, it takes at least a few for there to be a pattern, and lat strains typically aren't too serious.
Yeah, they can usually get back in 2, 3 starts for the most part, it looks like. Well, the Red Sox did again get the 8-0 win against the Guardians. There is one more tomorrow afternoon. I'm kind of getting sick of these Thursday afternoon games, Terry. Like, I work, so it's kind of hard to just sit there and say, "Oh, Thursday afternoon, let's go and see it." I think this is the last one in the Thursday set. I'm not 100% sure. Haven't looked at too in depth with the
I
schedule.
think it is. There's not many finales on the midweek where they're getaway games, at least for a
Yeah.
little while.
Tomorrow will be Chase Anderson going for the Sox. We saw a little bit of him from prior times. He's been decent, but it's going to be a matter of how long he can go. And he'll be opposed against Tristan McKenzie for the Guardians, and that will wrap their series. And then we have the Cubs coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We hope everybody has a great rest of your night. One more again tomorrow. We'll be here to break it down.